what is this that I'm looking at here?
Well, let me go on. You're so right. I mean, look, schools lately have become more about the adults who run them than the kids that need them, right? So we need to
Yeah.
really reverse that. So what we have here is the health standards, the health and science and PE standards. In May, the DPI got the go ahead, the red light, is it the checkered flag or is it, wait, the green light?
The green
Green
light. Yeah.
light. And the checkered flag, I think, yes, to go ahead and start writing these health curriculum standards. And if past is prologue, we know and understand from the social studies standards debacle that it's an election year and it's the summer. That means all the legislators are gone, the budget's been passed, and everybody's feverishly working on their campaigns. And this crap will be passed in the dark of night, but alas, Education First Alliance, your friends here, put a monkey wrench into the works. We wrote in June 15 that, hey, wait a minute, look who's going to remake these standards. Ellen Isink. She is a huge fan of LGBTQ gender ideology. Check her out. This is way back. What you're looking at, Deb, is way back in 2015, before the gingerbread person was injected to the bloodstream of all of our public schools here in North Carolina and the gender unicorn. Guess who was first to roll this out?
You're going to tell me I can't guess.
You're damn right I am. Ellen Isink. So the same person heading up writing the new sex ed standards injected this stuff into the bloodstream of our schools. And guess what? Out to in pronouns. We thought it's a thing that's new. 2015, she was doing this crap. 2015. So she has been waiting for her chance, you guys, to write these sex ed standards. She's been waiting. What does this make you feel like when you see it? It pisses me off.
Well, I am deeply concerned because I genuinely believe that parents don't understand that what they're looking at is abusive. It's not being kind. It's not being compassionate. It is quite literally an attempt to ideologically groom children away from their families and towards a mindset that focuses them outward on others, on the group, on government, on things outside themselves. But the reason that they're so focused on all of this gender and sexuality is that it strikes at the core of who a child thinks they are. And one of the ways that you can install new thoughts and worldviews and, theories of man is to fracture what is. I was talking about this with somebody yesterday. What is a rainbow? A rainbow is what happens when you take the whole white light, just whole, and it gets, fractured or, fragmented by beads of water in the air. And you then see all the different parts of the whole as separate colors, right? But seeing a rainbow is dependent on your perspective. You have to have the light behind you to see it. So I think that's sort of an interesting metaphor for what we're dealing with here. Is the rainbow is kind of the symbol of all of these things. They put rainbows all over everything. But it really is also a symbol of what they're trying to do to your child. They're trying to take this little hole. Now, granted, it's developing. Brand new little kid, 6-year-old, 7-year-old goes into kindergarten, and they want to break it into its component parts as quickly as possible and have the child question and begin to have doubts about who they thought they were and where did they get the belief about who they were before they entered school. They got it from mom and dad. They were a son, they were a daughter, they were a boy, they were a girl. That's really it. That's kind of all they were. They didn't have labels even. That was just who they were. They don't have a really big, expansive vocabulary for other kinds of identity markers. And by that, I don't mean labels of immutable characteristics. I mean, things like I like to play golf, or, my favorite thing is sewing. And these are labels, not identity things. So we take the kid and we immediately tell them, what are your pronouns, or what gender do you identify as? But they don't even know what identify means. They don't know what any of this means. And right away, they start thinking like, well, maybe mom and dad were wrong. They don't articulate this. They don't go home and say, were you wrong? They just start thinking like, oh, you mean I can be anything I want? We're talking about kids who believe in the tooth fairy and Santa Claus. So they may not even think to question this. Teacher, when you take your kid to school, first day, you don't say, no, be very, very careful. The people in there might lie to you. They might tell you a bunch of stuff that's totally not true. They might try to manipulate you and break you apart in little pieces. So they can rebuild you the way they want you to be. And they might even bully you into doing to make you feel really shameful if you disagree with them. So, don't listen to them. We don't say that. We say, listen to the teacher, be good, do your lessons. I'll see you later. Have a great time. And you drop them off. So they assume this is a good and safe place. Mom and dad left me here all day. So when the nice teacher comes in and shows them the genderbread person or shows them, the unicorn, the gender corn, to them, it's just another thing. They could be like a princess or a pirate or, whatever. But they don't understand the consequences. They have no concept at all of what gender roles are, what sexuality is, what any of these things are. And as I said, this is designed to begin to cast doubt on the trustworthiness of their parents, but more sinister even than that, it builds a peer-to-peer relationship with the teacher, which is wholly inappropriate. Yeah. Let's talk about your most personal, private sensations inside yourself, about who you are. I just met you. That is absolutely against all the rules of professionalism. It begins to triangulate. Triangulation is where you have, kid, teacher, parent. And now the child is left going, who do I turn to for authority here on this subject? So if you're a parent who's like, no, I believe in the sex binary and I want my kid to, grow up being who they decide they want to be, no outside influences, like nobody else telling them what's cool and hip and whatever. And that might put you at odds. It will put you at odds now with the teacher who's going to let them believe that you're backwards, you're old fashioned, you're closed-minded, you're a bigot, you're a hater. And they also are now going so far as to equate those beliefs, that I believe in the sex binary as the simplest belief, right? It's like biological fact. If you say so much of that is you wish violence upon people.
I was going to say violence, right?
They wish it's violent. Okay. And they're going to tell your kind-hearted little child that, because they don't say your parents believe this. Say people who think this, people who believe this, we have to teach this so that these people don't get hurt. Your friend over there, what they often do is refer to imaginary people out there. Trans kids, they'll talk about, or trans people out there are getting hurt. It's violent. We have to teach acceptance and understanding and love. So if they go home and they say, I learned that we read this book and it's so great. And the parent says, well, I don't know. Or they, wince or whatever. Are you against them? Are you a violent person? Do you want to hurt them? So you see the triangle. And this starts as early as kindergarten, that you are now battling for the soul of your child, whether it's the religious, whether you have a religious concept of a soul or just even a rational concept of like the identity that my child would have had left to their own devices, not interfered with or manipulated by this kind of ideology, that's gone. Good luck trying to rein them in. So it is really dangerous and really abusive to start inserting doubt of the parents and to start fracturing the child's identity when it's in its infancy. It's just beginning to form. It's their birthright to figure that out.